Welcome back. We're tracking these fresh visuals that are now coming out of the kind of riot that broke out on the streets of Ahmedabad. Now, this is a fresh visual that we've accessed, and if you look closely at this visual, you will see that actually it is not just a murderous assault on police. Policemen are clearly being lynched in these videos. Most shocking visuals that have emerged from this area in Ahmedabad. Let's go across to my colleague Priyanka, who's been tracking developments. Priyanka, some of these visuals are absolutely shocking. Policemen are being singled out. They are being pelted stones upon relentlessly from very close range. This is nothing short of lynching.
Oh, absolutely. This is absolutely nothing short of lynching. And where are the people now who talk about lynching? You know, because we have seen these police officials bravely kind of trying to create normalcy, trying to bring the situation back to normal, trying to contain the mob who had been spreading violence, who had been trying to create a ruckus. But this is how the people have been trying to attack the police officers. We had been at the spot when all of this was happening, and we had seen how people had climbed on rooftops and they had been throwing stones at police officers. Several police officers have in fact sustained head injuries, severe head injuries, because they had been attacked by stones by these mobs. And also when you see these kind of visuals, these fresh visuals that we're just playing out, we see that people had been ghirawing the police officers. They had been singling them out and then attacking them. Because earlier as well, we had seen a visual of a police officer slipping and falling, and that's how the people had taken advantage of that, and then they had also started hitting him. And these are the people who try to tell the world that these are the protesters against the CAA and the NRC. But are these people really worthy of being called protesters? Because they were doing absolutely nothing else except creating ruckus and also instigating violence and also asking the civilians to actually join in. But several people, in fact, did not join in, and they had been trying to help the police officers. But these people in these mobs had been only out for one single agenda of targeting the police officers and the media. These were people who were not really standing for anything. They were not really protesting anything. They probably did not even know what CAA and NRC is. They were only trying to instigate people. They were only trying to create violence. They were only trying to attack police officers and the media personnel.
Yes, and you know, the opposition in this case, Priyanka, must take responsibility. They have legitimized these protests. Not a single one of them is condemning what has happened in the name of protesting. They are just giving out generic homilies like don't lose your control and don't be violent. But it is a very direct question: when you are legitimizing these protests, then wouldn't you take responsibility for what has transpired? And will they ask for the police to take strict action against this mob, as they usually do?
Oh, absolutely, because what is this? It's not lynching. What is this? It's not premeditated attacking the police officers. And what is it? It's not premeditatedly attacking the media personnel, and also trying to create a false narrative when it comes to NRC and CAA as well. In fact, we saw that these are the people who had been telling the Muslim population and telling them that you will lose your citizenship. And they were trying to instigate the...
Precisely. And that is why they must take responsibility. It is quite clear that there is complete pandemonium, especially in Muslim majority areas where this is happening. They have been incited to come out on the streets quite blatantly. There is, of course, proof of that. And look at what's happening in this particular video that we've accessed. Policemen who've been surrounded by the mob in hundreds of numbers. They had to take, shelter under the canopy of one of the shops. And they are still exposed to the mob. And that mob is coming close to them and actually pelting stones at them. They are hitting them with lathis. While few civilians, it seems, are trying to stop them also. But look at this murderous assault that is going on in this particular visual. Now, what is this? This could have claimed lives. Is this what the opposition wants in the name of secularism? That people come out on the streets and they mob policemen? Remember, the police was given orders that they can shoot at sight when violence broke out in the aftermath of the Baba Ram Rahim Dera Sacha Sauda episode. Several people died in police firing. But today, there is an atmosphere being created that if even a lathi falls on these mob, then there is some subversion of human rights. But these visuals talk for themselves. Are there no human rights, Priyanka, of these policemen who are doing their duty?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because, you know, when we also spoke to the senior police officers and we were trying to get in the word from how many police officers had been injured, he said we will not reveal that number because this is a part and parcel of our life. This is a, this is a occupational hazard that we have to kind of endure because we have to safeguard the civilians. So this is the kind of behavior that we see from the police and, you know, obviously taking the higher road. But then, of course, when you see people like this, it is very disheartening to see visuals like this and to witness visuals like this where people have been trying to attack the very person who's trying to protect them from this kind of violence breaking out. So, of course, it's very, very disheartening to see these kind of visuals and also to see that there are several local leaders who had been instigating people and giving them misinformation and trying to create a fear psychosis when it comes to NRC and CAA because, like I said earlier, many of them did not really have any information.
It's not just that, Priyanka. If I may add here, there are several speeches of local leaders, several Congress leaders' speeches that have come out in the open where they've said that we will come out on the streets and take on the police. They have said that don't underestimate us and things like that. Inflammatory speeches have been made by several of these leaders. And it's really shocking that many of them are walking free as we speak. And such mob and rioting and lynching is taking place in the name of protests. The opposition must take responsibility right now because they've been shielding these protests, blinded completely. Not a single one of them is actually talking about what is going on in the streets in Lucknow, in Ahmedabad, and what has happened in Delhi. All they're saying is our rights are being curbed because of prohibitory orders. What is this happening then? And they should also answer the fact that they've been inciting people to come out. Is it just okay to tweet that be peaceful? Are they going to come out and condemn these mobs and this open lynching going on? Are they going to come out and disown these protests? Or are they going to come out and protect this mob because it suits them politically, Priyanka?
Absolutely. Look at what happened in the case of Jignesh Mevani himself, because earlier we saw visuals of protests coming out from Palanpur and then him taking to Twitter and congratulating these people who had been attacking the police officers and, calling themselves silent protesters. And in fact, Jignesh Mevani coming out and actually coming on the streets.
No, Priyanka, you must clarify this. You must clarify this. Did Jignesh Mevani congratulate mobs that were attacking police? Because there are other videos from Ahmedabad from much earlier in the morning when a police van has been singled out and it's been attacked from all sides.
Absolutely, because he has said that people should come out on the streets and his favorite idiom is to create street wars. And he has congratulated and said that people need to stand up for their rights. And that's what he has said, that this is what the people had been doing. And he has actually also come out on the streets of Ahmedabad and then he had said, tried to create a ruckus, clearly knowing that the police permission had not been given to protesters and then tried to create a ruckus and tried to create some theatrics out of it and then got detained. But even when he was doing that, he had been saying that good that people came out in these numbers and then started protesting because he said that this is how actually how you exercise democracy is something that he said. So, of course, he has to come out and clarify. Several people in the opposition have to come out and clarify because is this the democracy that they had been talking about? That these people in the mob surrounding police officers who had been trying to protect them and then singling them out and hitting at them.
Absolutely. They must come out and tell us now if their politics against Narendra Modi and the BJP at the center justifies this kind of attack on policemen doing their duty in several cities across the country. And we are going to continue to ask them about their responsibility as politicians and leaders and MLAs and elected representatives in the country.